So, can they make it better? Well, let's talk to two of the folks in the mix. Democratic Congressman from California, Tenney and Garamendi, and Republican Congresswoman from New York, Claudia Tenney. Welcome to you both.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
Thanks for being
Okay,
here.
so you had a big vote today on the Goodlatte bill, which was viewed as the more conservative, not a single Democrat vote, but a number of Democrats, or a number of Republicans, dozens of them who also voted no. Afterwards, Congressman Dave Brat said this: amnesty without real border security begets more amnesty. It's a shame this measure failed today. Unfortunately, we're no closer to solving our border crisis. Is that where you are tonight?
Well, I'm a co-sponsor of the Goodlatte 1 bill, as we call it. The Goodlatte 2 bill, of course, has been pulled, as you've reported on. We spent a lot of time in a special conference today talking about how to solve this problem. I thought it was really, really productive, and everyone was earnest. All our leadership was there. All the different caucuses were there, and trying to come up with a solution. And we really need to come up with a solution to protect our border and to keep Americans safe.
And key leadership today, Steve Scalise said this after the meetings. Here's what he said about the vote today.
You didn't see one Democrat voting yes. So clearly, the Democrats don't want this issue. They want to just keep exploiting kids and other people.
And Congressman, that's an accusation we've hurled at both sides, that they're both doing it for political gain. What would it take to get Democrat votes on a bill?
First of all, Mr. Scalise could not be further from the truth. There's not a Democrat here, and I suspect across the country, and I don't believe there's a Republican either, that really sees this separation of children from their parents as good for politics. It is horrible for these children, it's horrible for the parents, and frankly, it's terrible for this nation. There is a necessity for us to get together on this, and there really was an opportunity. I'm really pleased to hear that there's a new organization put together in the Senate. I hesitate to call it a gang. Those are good people.
You always get named gangs over there.
It's the media that wants to use that word. But the reality is that there really is an opportunity to put together a comprehensive reform. It does exist. Right now it's not in the House. The word compromise is a compromise within the Republican caucus. It's not. There's no Democrat involved. In fact, no Democrat's been asked to engage in the drafting of the legislation that'll be on the floor next week.
What is your primary objection to this particular bill, the second one that will come for a vote next week?
Well, there are several that are out there. First of all, there's the linking of the funding for the border wall with the future of the DACA kids. It basically says that the DACA program, that is the waiver, the continuation of these kids being able to stay in the country, terminates if the money is not there for the wall. So you're really holding the DACA kids as hostage. There's also some real serious problems about family reunification. For example, in the legislation, Melania Trump's parents could not come to America to join her. So, there's some serious underlying problems.
When you talk about chain migration and the visa lottery and all kinds of things, I mean, those are the president's given you 4 pillars, and he's only going to sign a bill that has those 4 pillars in it. So I know you all have to pass something that he'll sign. But if you can't do it without Democrats, how do you proceed?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, why don't the Democrats join with us and come up with some solutions or give us some ideas? I mean, we have some fairly moderate Democrats that are giving us a lot of input. And, I personally look at it a little differently. I come from a community that has a lot of refugees. And I look at some of these things, and I actually have a view that, we look at, for example, programs like merit-based immigration. Well, my grandparents wouldn't have been able to come here with a merit-based immigration. I think we should have people that want to come here and be part of this country, that are interested in freedom, are interested in being part of the social contract, as it's been described by our founders, and people who really want to be part of this country. And I don't think an elite-based system that says only if you're a doctor or an engineer or someone that's going to work in that system. So I think there's a lot of room for negotiation, that we really want to get this solved. And I'm happy to work with our Democratic colleagues. I mean, we're holding up this bill now. We're going to go back to the drawing board, and I think they're free to come in and submit whatever issues they have. There are some issues that I think are hard. I mean, obviously we want security. The president wants the border wall, and those look like they're going to be. I mean, the president looks like he negotiates quite a bit, though. He's definitely been willing to be flexible on a lot of issues. He's flexible actually on this issue. So I think if they're willing to come to the table, and he's invited everyone to the White House. I mean, let's go to the table.
Congressman, would you go? I mean, you heard his open invitation. We could call right now.
Always looking for an invitation, but looking for a real opportunity to engage in meaningful negotiations on what to put together a bill. Frankly, we need to do that. We really need to sit down. Ultimately, there will be no law either in the House or the Senate, given where the Republican caucus is and where the Senate Democrats are, unless there is two parties negotiating a solution to the multiple problems. Your earlier reporter talking about the necessity for a comprehensive reform of the entire immigration system, agricultural labor, high tech. What are you going to do about E-Verify? But E-Verify, without dealing with the status of the individuals that are currently in the nation, creates a huge problem because they won't be able to be employed. And now what do we do with that?
Right, and everybody agrees that there are massive problems and that a massive overhaul is needed, but getting there is going to be very tricky. You both seem like you want to work across the aisle, and so...
Every bill I put out is bipartisan. I would love to have Democrats join us in this. I think they should be part of the equation. We just are concerned about passing a bill and going to the Senate and not having a bill that's going to pass.
All right,
and that's our concern. I mean, I would love to have
Claudia's offer, as I did with Mark Meadows.
Okay, well, look,
thank you. You've already we're on our way.
Step towards getting the
We got till next week. Let's get together.
All right, they're going to hang out this weekend. Thank you both for coming.
Appreciate it.